Greetings, greetings, greetings. You're now tuned in to 13signsastrology.com. Chilling on this very peaceful day, vibing out here in nature. It's a little bit cool. It's actually May. It's the month of May right now. It's very cool where I'm at. It's normally, a lot warmer. I'm noticing that there's a shift going on with this weather. Seeming like it's becoming a lot colder for longer periods of time. And I was talking to a particular individual the other day, and I was telling him, like, I think it's definitely based on the energy and the frequency of the people collectively. Like I always teach, when the weather gets cold outside, metaphysically, that means that people's attitudes and personalities are cold or very hostile, very unhappy. People are right now. So I chose to kind of come out in nature and do a video to hopefully shift that frequency. So I'm just out here cooling and vibing. I've been meditating and things of that nature lately. Been really practicing the art of speaking lately and just watching carefully the words that come out of my mouth, because the words that come out of my mouth create my reality. So I've been really watching that and just watching talking in general. I just look around and I notice how much we as individuals, we do a lot of talking about people. A lot of words come out of our mouth, but if you think about the words that come out of your mouth on a day-to-day basis, how much of that is really something that could teach somebody something versus you just talking shit. So that's kind of where I've been at lately. There's nothing wrong with going and having periods of time where you don't talk at all. The ancients, they used to have times where they went on talking fasts. On these talking fasts, they wouldn't say anything to anyone. So obviously getting something done during that time, you would have to use your telepathic powers to make things happen. What if you're in a situation where you can't speak to someone that you need to speak to? You need to be able to talk to that person. I do it all the time. I speak to people all the time that I have no contact with in 3D. And you may think that's weird or indifferent or whatever, but or unique even, but I think it's very necessary in helping you to really build up and strengthen your faith in the unseen world, to kind of communicate and have communion with people without always calling them up and having to say things. So that's what I've been doing lately. A lot of people have been ordering things, and I know that it's a little bit slow. The processing is slow, but be patient with me. We've been here for years. We're not going anywhere. You don't have to have any worries about us not being able to fulfill your purchase. Things have just been, a little bit busy at the same time too, because it's not like I just be sitting here meditating all day and looking around, but I have to do security. I'm like a minstrel show. I'm like a one-man band, so I have to think about security, I have to think about accounting, I have to think about marketing, I have to think about advertising, I have to think about answering emails, and all of these different things that I have to think about. And even though I have people helping me, I still have to manage those people that are helping me. And I have to, people that I care about, I have to make sure that they're okay. So be patient with me, guys, when it comes to fulfilling the orders. We're not going anywhere, so just be patient. Now, on this episode, I want to talk about, this is like a character building episode. And I want to talk about the rising sign, or the ascendant. You see, we all know about the sun sign. The sun sign is the sign that gives you your willpower. The sun sign is the sign that gives the character of your soul, or the very essence of you, as far as who you are on the inside. Like I always tell people, it takes people a lot of time to get to know someone. And not only that, but when you get to know someone, you get to know them in layers. And in astrology, we call these layers different aspects or different signs. The first thing you're going to get to know about someone will be based upon the ascendant sign. That's the first part of a person that you're going to meet. And the rising sign is important. So a lot of people, they always want to know somebody's sun sign and see if they match up with them and all of that. And the sun sign is important because it's very important, because that's the very essence. That's who you are in your heart when you talk about the sun sign. So like, it may take a while for somebody to show their heart. Like, most humans don't show their heart first. They'll show their mind before they show their heart. So you may show your Mercury sign before you show your heart, the very essence of you. A lot of times your Mercury sign links to your heart, though, so we speak from the heart. A lot of times. And Mercury deals with communication and thoughts and how we think. So we speak from the heart. So a lot of times your Mercury sign may be found in the same sign as your sun sign, but sometimes it's not. So it just depends. But the ascendant sign is interesting because this is the persona. This is the mask. People always hear me talk about you are on a stage and you are kind of like an actor. And you're acting out energy. That's what you're acting out. When you say you're an actor in astrology, actors are acting out scripts. Well, these scripts are aren't written scripts, they're energetic scripts, energetic signatures. So when you look at your natal chart, you're acting out at all times. You're always acting out these particular energies as they move, and as the planets move through them, you begin to take on different characteristics based upon planets moving through these different constellations. So if you want to get your act together, and getting your act together is kind of like getting the part of you together as far as how the world is viewing you, how the world is looking at you. If you want to get that aspect of yourself together, the first thing you want to look at is you want to look at the ascendant sign. You want to look at the rising sign, because many people they fake it. See, they want to be all of these different personalities. Like you might see the Matrix. I always tell people the Matrix, they give you what's called predetermined scripts. So in the Matrix, you may see some dude with his pants sagging. He look hardcore, you know what I'm saying? Like he's a tough dude, and the females feel good around him because they feel protected. And you may think, okay, I want to be like that. That's called a ready-made image that the Matrix has. And when you get into astrology, it's interesting because you can kind of like get more creative with your personality and your persona as far as who you are as an individual, because it's a lot more to who you are as an individual than just acting like somebody else. So when you talk about being an actor in astrology, we're not talking about acting like somebody else. That's the first thing we got to get into. We're talking about acting like your true self, but the best part of your true self, because you have a cardinal part of your true self, and then you have the higher part of the light part, the light body aspect. So we show you the cardinal part of yourself, and you can use that at times, because sometimes the animal self is needed. But then there's times when you want to get into the light aspect of yourself. So in astrology, we teach you how to get your act together. See, some people, they want to be this dude, this big ass dude with these stupid big ass muscles, you know what I'm saying, that can just pick up someone and throw them across the room, and like they demand presence. And then some people, they want to be this real intelligent, suave, Rico Suave type of cat that everybody kind of just seems to look to when it comes to getting into information and getting wisdom. And then you have other people that want to be this flashy type of cat with all the latest cell phone and tattooed up, and you always gotta you pull the ladies that way or whatever. So that's where your magnetism comes from. Then you got the women that want to be this woman that looks sexy and she's fine, she knows how to dress, but then at the same time, she's the type of woman that can hang out with the guys, and she know how to play ball with the guys, and she can kick the bobos with the guys. You got women like that. Then you got this woman that's pretty, that you have to open the doors for. She's a queen. You got to roll out the red carpet for. So you got all these different type of personalities, and it's like, which one should you choose? I say none of them, because you guys don't know about your natal chart. See, if you had to know about the ascendant sign or the rising sign, that's going to give you your persona. That's the mask. That's how you get your act together. If you want to be your best, you look at your rising sign, because automatically people are already going to see you for your rising sign anyway, so why not magnify the best part of, say for instance, you a Scorpio rising. Why not exemplify the best part of Scorpio rising? Say for instance, you a Libra rising. Why not exemplify the best part of Libra rising? So the rising sign is important, and it changes very swiftly. Every 2 hours, you have the potential. Well, actually, every so many minutes, really, you have the potential to have a different degree of a particular sign rising. So every 4 minutes, you have a particular character trait that comes through. So this explains when people always email me and they ask, well, what about twins? I have a twin, and my character is just like, I don't think astrology is real, because what if you got a twin? You know what I'm saying? And they born at the same time, and me and her are like night and day, or me and him are like night and day. What about that? Well, a lot of times twins are born so many minutes apart, for one thing. And even if you was born to the same minute, some kind of way, and you guys got everything down to a T, your twin you're gonna automatically be one is gonna be the dark twin, and the other one's gonna be the light twin. That's just how it is or whatever. So when I say that's not about good and bad, that's not saying one of them is evil and the other one is good, because both of them gonna be evil and both of them gonna be good, but one of them is gonna be more of the the person that exemplifies the darker aspects of the natal chart, because all natal charts have dark aspects and light aspects. And then another twin is going to, the light parts will dominate that twin. And in that makes you different. So you might have the same rising sign, but in that makes you different. But most of us, we may be all Leos, say for instance, in a room, but we all may be born in different years, different times. So we all got different rising signs. So that's why the rising sign is very unique and very important. And once you get that together, beloved, this is how you really get your life together, your natal chart together. It's identifying the rising sign, because that kind of tells you about your character. People that have rising signs that are, say for instance, I can just go through and I'll give you a couple words about each rising sign. People that are Aries rising. Aries rising signs are people that they're physical, they like to work out, they come off as very ambitious. That's the sign of ambition. But then if you got Taurus, that's going into materialism, stubborn, but very creative and artistic. Gemini, very communicative, likes to study, likes to research, very smart. Cancer is very popular usually on one level, but at the same time, they like to have events at home. They are the type of individuals that they think, as far as their thinking, because the rising sign kind of goes into the mentality. So they have a watery way of thinking. So it may take them a little bit more time to make their mind up about things. People that are Cancer rising, as far as how they're thinking and things of that nature. Then you have Leo rising. Leo rising these are dramatic people. These are actors. These are people that always want to be seen. This is the Leo. And even if they don't want to be seen, they're going to be seen anyway. People that are Leo rising, you see them coming from a mile away, for good or for bad. Then you got the Virgo rising. Now the Virgo rising is very conservative, very prudent, very shrewd, very cunning. It's a deep rising sign. It's very incognito type of rising sign. Then going into the Libra sign goes into the diplomats. This is the person that will speak for someone. If it's a fight going on between two people and a Libra rising is walking up, they'll see that fight and they'll say, okay, I'm gonna try to break that fight up. And they'll try to iron it out and balance everything out. So this is the first part that you'll see of them. This may not be everything about them, but this is first thing, probably some of the first attributes you see about these particular people. Then going into, there's different rising signs, and those people that got their 13 signs chart, that's good. You can go get your chart out and you can look at your rising sign and kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. So then you got, after Libra, you have Scorpio. Scorpio rising signs are they're kind of like Aries, but they're very ambitious, but more in a subtle way. And they can be like a Scorpio is really like an Aries mixed with a Virgo. Because they can be very sneaky, very cunning, very subtle, very untrusting, but very, at the same time, their presence is very strong. And they can make people emotional by just being around. They just sit in a room and people get moody and stomachs start feeling funny, because that's that Scorpio dominant presence coming out, very crabby type of presence. And then you have the Ophiuchus rising. Now the Ophiuchus rising sign is interesting because this is the new sign. So the Ophiuchus rising sign makes a person gives you that real incognito type of energy going on. Very mysterious, mystique, because the 13th sign is the sign of the unknown. So these people are hard to figure out. They're like energy. One day you see them, they look this way. The next day you see them, they look another way, because they're energetic beings. Then you have, going into the next sign, would be Capricorn. Capricorn rising people. This is the GOAT. So you got to remember, the rising sign gives you your appearance. So Capricorns, they have a very broad appearance usually. Like they have a very earthly, broad, strong type of look to them. Like they always look strong, or something about them looks either strong, or something about them is like hard to come at them. Almost like a Scorpio, where it's like you don't know how to come at them. You never really know. You got to weigh them out a little bit before you come at them or whatever. So that's the Capricorn as far as their look. Then going into the Aquarius rising, this makes a person very unique. The Aquarius rising is weird. They wear bright colors. It always will be something about them that'll stick out. That's your Aquarius. And then lastly is your Pisces. Pisces rising people are magicians too. They're like water, so their appearance changes a lot. It's kind of like the Ophiuchus rising a lot. And with the Pisces rising, it's like you're like water. So water changes forms pretty quickly, and water has to stay moving in order for it to stay alive and stay vibrant. Any water that's sitting in a dead room, you should never drink it. Those people may not know that. You should put a top on it and shake it up and then drink it, because any water that's sitting in a room is called still. It's like dead water. The molecules aren't moving. And in order for water to give you life, it needs motion. So Pisces, their personality is always changing. They're very secretive people. They're very hard to know. They're magicians too at the same time. So that's the rising sign, people. So once you know that, you know who you are on the rising sign, you got to read Pisces now, because that's a part of you. So now you got to go, even if you read on a horoscope, you might want to read about Pisces, even though you might be a Leo, but you Pisces rising, you want to read about Pisces now, because that's the mask that you wear. That's the persona that you give off to the world. That's how you think to the world. Then you have planets. Your first house goes into governing your personality too as well, because you have opportunities to change your personality. And the best time to change your personality is when certain planets move through your first house. This is a secret of astrology a lot of people don't talk about. So you may be a person that doesn't have any planets in the first house, but you got to remember, planets are always moving 365 days a year, baby. So it's going to be one time when one of these planets is going to go through your first house. And say, for instance, you're a person, you that guy, you want these big stupid ass muscles so the girls will like you and all that type of stuff, right? So the best time to do that is when Mars is going through your first house. You may have tendencies to where you can't get that, but Mars may go through your first house. It's going to make you more aggressive. It's going to make you more bullish, more ramish, more masculine. So you can take advantage of that and go work out. And go get you some big stupid ass muscle. Take advantage of that Mars being in the first house during that time, or that Pluto being in the first house. You may be the type of woman where you was always a tomboy. You weren't really into your dressing. But now you want to be into the dressing and the clothes and stuff more. Venus may be going through your first house. That's an opportunity for you to get into your fashion and your dressing. And a lot of times, even though the planet will move through the first house and it'll go into something else, if you take the time to operate off of Venus moving through your first house and live your life predicated upon that energy for that period of time, because it only lasts for maybe 30 days. It'll go through your first house for about 30 days, then it'll go away. But if you take advantage and mastering a new habit or picking up a new habit during that time, then guess what? Now that's going to stick with you. So now what's going to happen is that you now going to be a good dresser. You're going to know what it is to get fresh, and it's going to be easier for you to get groomed and to get fresh, because now you're practicing these planets moving through your first house. You may be a person, you're not too smart. You've never really been a person that can explain things correctly to people, but you want to be that way. Well, guess what? Mercury may be going through that first house, homeboy. So now you know what you can do? Since Mercury's going through that first house, you want to go ahead and master the books. Get you a good book. Read a good book. Do some public speaking. Master your art of communicating. Go get you something to sell or some flyers and pass out so you can go talk to people. Now's the time to do that, because Mercury's in your first house, so you're going to be more talkative and all of that anyway. So that's how you get your act together. That's probably what I call this video, getting your act together. You got to look at your ascendant sign, figure out what your character is, not what Bob's character is, not what somebody on some video on BET's character is, not what Lil Bow Wow. Shout out to Lil Bow Wow. I love Lil Bow Wow, but not what Lil Bow Wow's character is. What about you? You see, what about Corey? What about Corey's character? What about Keisha's character? So that's what you want to look at. What about Christy's character? What about Joe's character? You see? So these are the things that you want to look at when you get your act together. A lot of people say, man, one day Imhotep is one way, then the next day he's like this. This because I be looking at my first house. And I'm trying to get my act together. And I know being a Leo, I can have many different personalities. That's a part of being a Leo. I don't have to always be one way. I could be super quiet and don't say nothing to nobody, and that don't mean I'm shy, because the next day I might come out and be talking to everybody and be loud with it. So that's me getting my act together and learning about who I am, which is helping me to attract people into my cipher. Last thing I'll point out, something you want to do is you want to learn the ruling planet. The planet that rules you, which is based on your ascendant sign or your rising sign. So your ruling planet is basically the planet that rules that constellation that's rising. I'm not going to spill the beans on that one. On that one, you're going to have to get you a consultation. Or that one, you're going to have to order your natal reading or something like that. And maybe you already got a natal reading. And if you want to know the ruling planet, all you got to do is look at your rising sign, figure out what your rising sign is, and you can go online. You don't got to find nothing from me. You can go online and type in ruling planet for Taurus, and it'll tell you the ruling planet. And then that way you'll know. Now, some of the ruling planets I don't use in my way of doing astrology. I kind of have my own way because I try to be more accurate. And it works for me. I don't use the ruling planets a lot of times that they use on those sites a lot of times. So you may want to get my opinion on it. So then you can go ahead and book your consultation, or book your question or something like that. But it's not about that. It's about just passing on the information so people can get their act together, so we can get this world together. Because the world is nothing but a stage, and if we can get people to get their act together, then the world will be a better place. There's nothing wrong with being an actor. You're not fake. As long as it's not wrong with being on your best behavior. You're not fake. It's not anything wrong with being on your worst behavior at times. Sometimes there's a time and a place for that, though. As a Leo, you got to know how far can you go being on your worst behavior. If you say, for instance, you're a Leo rising or whatever, you got to know how far can you go being on your worst behavior. Like what I guess what will the world accept from you? Because being, say for instance, if you're a Leo rising, the world is only going to accept so much from you. They want you to be a certain way because that's your rising sign. So you got to be you. You can't be this thug on the street. You can't be this girl that can just sleep with any dude and don't feel no emotions from you. You got to be with one dude. You can't go around sleeping around because you get attached. So you got to know yourself, and that'll make the world a better place. So if we all get our acts together, it'll make for a perfect movie. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this video down. I really thank you guys for listening and watching. I have a lot to do. So I'll leave you in Hotep, Namaste, Wadu. Peace.